And this is the entranceway. If you notice, it's almost like a little entranceway into the magic fairyland. When I first was going to go to Alapine, I have psychic powers, and I have never really thought of myself as a psychic, but things have happened in my life, almost like a journey where you find out who you are and then you follow it and you look for signs and then you get reinforced and supported and then you move on and you meet obstacles and you go around them and find yourself back on your road, and so that's kind of where I'm at now. But in the beginning, when we first started Alapine, I woke up in the middle of the night at Pagoda and I said, get a piece of paper and pencil because I don't know what's coming through, but it is coming through me. And I just started talking. It was a priest called Kirkman. He told me we were going to buy this land. He drew me a map. He wanted all of this for us to buy because it was sacred. And he talked about the birds. He talked about the ancestors being here. And then that map started manifesting as things opened up and we got women to buy it. He brought me here.
Seem to think that they're with women because they've rejected men, but if they come to realize they're with women because they want to be and have rejected a role, then they wouldn't be guilty. All the things that are taught you not only by society but by psychiatrists are just to fit you in a mold, and I've just rejected the mold, and when I rejected the mold I was happier.
Okay, play it. Here we go.
She's a BD, baby dyke.
Baby dyke.
She's a PD, possible, probable.
Possible, probable.
She's a DD, yeah, she's a definite dyke. She's a POU, positively one of us. She's got high LP, good potential. Suffering from PLT, pre-lesbian tension.
Pre-lesbian tension.
She's Lebesian, lesbonic, and I happen to know she's a vegetarian.
Vegetarian.
She's a member of the team. She's a member of the lodge of the family. She's a member of the church, of the club, of the committee, and she sings in the choir.
She sings in the choir.
Is she a lima bean from Kentucky? Is she a canned bean in the closet? Or is she now with a man? Then she's a has-been.
Is she now with a man? She's a has-been.
In Fresno, in Lansing 48912. She lives in Dyke Heights. She's an Arkansas Earth Dyke, Motor City Dyke. It goes to the pagoda with the Chinese, you bet. She colors outside the lines in Charlotte. Lesbian. She's a big one. She's a bowler. She wears sensible shoes.
Sensible shoes.
Lesbian code.
Yeah, I don't even think this house is... I thought for a while maybe the main part of it could be reclaimed, but I don't think so. I think it's got to go. All right, photo albums that need to get out of here. Oh, what a sad, sad thing.
My name is Barbara Lou. My last name is a taken name. It's in lieu of my old name because I'm a lesbian, or in lieu of being straight. And we're at Alapine Village in Northeast Alabama, which is a lesbian community. It's the second lesbian community I've lived in. I was one of the 3 who formed a corporation to buy this land and sell lots, 2-acre lots, to lesbians.
I have this house that is condemned and the roof is falling in. And I'm making an effort to grab some of the photographs, actually the ones in this album are not too bad, of my partner and myself back from, oh, there's a picture of a naked somebody, back from when we lived at the pagoda. Here is repairing the roof
Of the cottage.
Look at that. And little dykes up there working their little hearts out.
I left the Northeast Connecticut. I had already been divorced. Chose to move to Charleston, South Carolina. Didn't know anybody, I didn't have a job, I didn't have a place to live. I packed anything I could carry by myself in my van and moved to Charleston. I met my future partner.
There, that's her. Not that one, but she was Connie Lavender Ackerman. So we came out together in Charleston, South Carolina. Sorry about the noise.
We went around the country and ended up in St. Augustine, Florida, where Morgana and 3 other women were starting the pagoda. It was a retreat space for lesbians. Morgana and her group bought the first 4 cottages. About 11 of us bought the next 6 living units, and just little by little we developed the community.
And they would call it lesbian heaven. So we were partners for a long time, and this is photos of the 2 of us over the years, usually kissing. Valentine at a music festival, no clothes. We started Alapine together. We found the land together, but she left me for somebody else. But we stayed friends, and I miss her. She died.
I see that bus. Well, in 1967 was the Summer of Love. So in 2007, I painted on the side of this bus, Summer of Love, and we took off and we traveled for 6 months. And we gutted the whole thing and put in a bed and a 5-gallon bucket with a seat on it for a toilet. This is my estate. So, you know, when you don't know what to do about something, what do? You dance. Come on here. And you dance, see? My name is Winnie Adams. I've been here since 1999, so actually 20 years. Oh yeah, my flamingos, yes. I love my flamingos. Back in the late 70s, I could go stand on the edge of the water and look up and down the beach and spot a flamingo and then know where the lesbians were. I moved to Alapine because I wanted to be in women-only space, and that's what this is most of the time. If there's a man working next door, then I'd be sure to put a shirt on before I go outdoors. But otherwise, I don't bother with that.
At the time when gay rights were being debated a little more than they are now, although of course we worry now, people would say, is it a choice? It's not a choice. You know, are you born that way? In many ways for lesbian feminists, there was a choice involved because you started to realize this is just not working for me. These guys don't have a clue. And I need something more. And then, of course, you'll excuse me, but the first time you kiss a woman, you go like, oh, that's what it's all about.
So being a lesbian back in the 70s and 80s was a very secret life for pretty much all of us. I spent most of my life in school. I did an MBA at Wharton, I did a doctorate at George Washington, I did postgraduate work at Virginia Tech. Went to school with almost all males and worked with almost all males in a very highly patriarchal environment. I spent 22 years in Washington, D.C., and that meant many, many clearances, and that meant living a double life. This is me when I worked, when I had to dress appropriately. Well, I had a major problem with the patriarchy per se, and I had some major problems with anger management in my career because I would get really pissed off. Man, I remember one time I was in a meeting. I was, of course, the only woman in there, 22 men and me. One of the men called me sweetheart or honey or sweetheart. I stopped the meeting and I said, please don't call me sweetheart. And he says, oh, it's just an affectionate name. And I said, well, then you don't mind my affectionate name for you. And the whole place went silent. Penis breath. And that didn't help my career.
If you were married, a straight woman, if you were married, you couldn't get a credit card without your husband signing for it. When it came to lesbians, there was the threat of being arrested, there was the threat of being beaten up, and nobody would prosecute if you were beaten up. Well, you were a lesbian or you were a gay man, so who cares?
I was attacked twice. I was attacked in San Francisco, in the Castro, and in Washington, D.C., on DuPont Circle. So I was getting more and more angrier and angrier. And you have to decide, do I stay here and try to change it, or do I walk away from it and just go somewhere else and create the community that you do want?
We were looking to find a safe place to be where we couldn't lose our apartment, we couldn't be fired from our job, we couldn't lose our children. We just took it farther than a lot of women did and a lot of lesbians did, and we bought land and lived together, and that led us to wanting to have a nursing home, which is what led us to this land. Hi. Can I take you around and show you Alapine? Alapine is a safe space, first of all. It's a space for lesbians, it's a living space. It's a beautiful, rural, woodsy, animal-positive space. It's 108 acres altogether, 45 buildable lots. 20 lots are developed, and we have about 18 residents. We have single-wide trailers, double-wide trailers. I live in a double-wide repo trailer. Regular houses, I call them stick-built houses, wooden houses. Cabins. We have a roundhouse. And we have one underground house.
Let's talk about how you two met.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Personal ad in the newspaper.
Do names first.
I did. I said I'm Mary Alice.
I get to do a name too.
You can be Susie Reagan.
One of your friends began to play Cupid, unbeknownst to
either one of us. Yeah. That was back when you paid for long distance by the minute. We were the first two here. It was a little scary sometimes, being the only people. We didn't have a phone for quite a while.
About the same time that the women were looking for land up here, I was reading more and more about environmental things, and I kept coming across earth-sheltered houses. That's been one of the dreams of my life, an earth-sheltered house. And to be able to be the planner and the contractor and the main carpenter, it felt awesome. We kind of built this house over 2.5 to 3 years. Friends would come up, bring their tent to camp in and help. We started in the fall, and we basically got the 3 outside concrete walls and the roof with this decking on it in December. And we hand mixed the concrete. That's what's going on here. Mary Alice was the mixer, good muscles. So she'd get it mixed and bring it over, and we'd get it poured out, and she'd be mixing the next load. Here's a picture built up to where the window comes in, and then the window got put in place. So you can see this crew is real pleased we got that far. When we finished building the house, it was in some ways almost unbelievable, and it was such an incredible sense of completion in my life. It turned out just even more than I could have imagined.
I'm in love with Chihuahuas now, especially this one.
So, well, she is.
She can lay on her back too, and she covers her private parts with her tail. Here, cover your private parts. Good girl, see? She covers up real good. Yes, good girl. See how she covers? Yeah.
We had some lesbians come to see what we were all about, and as they came down this road, they went, "Oh, look! All those mailboxes, they're all lesbians." We are right on the state line, and if you don't set your cell phone, for example, it'll keep changing because we're right on the Eastern Time, Central Time zone. This is our 3 roads, and Morgana lives right there.
No electricity, no water service. She has solar power and rainwater collection, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. You know, it's a long, long way in there. Not good.
There was a road in that we did have originally. That might have been the old road right there, actually. It's gonna get fixed.
Oh my goodness.
Pretty insane.
I think it's good compared to this winter when we had floods. I barely could ever even get out half the time. And this is where my house is. Most of my house is done, and I'm just gonna get someone to clear out this, and you know what this is gonna become? Little tables and chairs like a bistro. All lined all the way around on both sides. I'm gonna put a little stage in this corner, and then I wanna have weekend, little performances, poetry readings. Let's go upstairs, because it's special up here. I even have a temple at the top. Okay, here we go. I was a belly dancer, ritual belly dancer, feminist belly dancer. So that's how, I mean, that was my sexuality in a very positive way to help women reclaim that as an ancient dance form. Thought I was very, very straight. And I was, but I also had girlfriends I was really close to and one I was really in love with. If you had sex, you were a whore, and if you didn't, you were a prude. So you had to get one boyfriend, and that boyfriend kept his mouth shut, and then you were safe. You didn't have to do all that stuff. I came to Alapine when I was 40. We came up here and found the perfect piece of land that had been an old development. When we finally closed on it, I just cried because I knew I had come back to camp. It's hallowed ground. I mean, this is sacred. You know, you feel it, right? I mean, it's just like, this is church.
When we were first here, we didn't have a roof to collect water. As soon as we built this shed and we're bringing things up, we made it our rainwater collection. Okay, chickens, here we go. Yeah, here's your food. Here you go, chick, 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 chick. Chick, 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 chick. I was in high school in the 40s, right after Second World War, when the whole country's concept was get the women out of the workplace, let the men go to work, and all the women get pregnant, stay home, have a big family. That's how you'll be happy, so do that so you'll be happy. And I remember a number of my high school friends were not happy at all. What led me to want to be in a lesbian community, because to me the lesbians were maybe the most conscious of this crazy dictatorship at many levels that goes on and wanting to change it. Being a lesbian is not about man-hating. It is about loving somebody who is potentially on the equal to you. And in our culture, it's at every level that men are in control. I don't want to partner with somebody who's has the legal right and everything else to control me. I want us to be equal partners.
All right, so you understand I have no idea what we're encountering over there. I have not been to that fire pit in a long time. All right, here we go, through the woods. Many, many chambers, many, many things. It's usually for fishing, but I don't fish. we are held together more by our past than by the current time. So we have a couple of issues. One of the issues is that we are an aging group, and we are old lesbians taking care of other old lesbians, is the truth. The counter issue is that a lot of young lesbians who now have the rights that we fought for decades to get don't feel a need to live in what is essentially a separatist space. So Winnie and I started posting on some of these sites, and this is lesbians who are looking to make plans for retirement and try to live together. And so every time somebody says, we should start a community, there should be a place. Hello, there is a place. Come to us. We have a place. We are reaching out more and more. We had been very private for a very long time. No public ads, no internet action, keep it low key. But because we are needing to repopulate, we have reached out more, and so we're doing more on the internet.
One of the problems in trying to bring people here is how do you advertise it? And how do you advertise it safely? Because our safety is important. You can be very anonymous in the city, but you cannot be in a rural area.
This year, because of reaching out in a more public way, because this is more public and it makes my neighbors nervous, because of reaching out in a more public way, I've had more visitors and inquiries this year than I would say the last 5 years combined. So that's encouraging, but nobody has bought. I see the future as questionable, because what are we going to do? My focus is here. I know that there are women who are out there learning more, doing more, whether it's, one of our residents who left because we weren't activists enough, we weren't out there working for peace enough. Well, I consider lesbian land to be an activist activity, and so that's where I chose to put my energy.
For a woman to even go live like this is a very radical thing to do. So these women are radical women, all of them. They're not Stepford wives. They're all very smart, they're all very radical, they're all highly opinionated. But I know even if you were really pissed at me right now, if I had a crisis, I could call you and you'd be here for me.
Welcome. Now at Alapine, I can have my community of lesbians that I can call my family.
We have something to be extremely grateful for, and she's arriving right this second. Jan Smith closed on her property today. Woohoo! Now an Alapine resident. Welcome, Jan.
This community is a very courageous endeavor. The three women who had the idea to start it were incredibly courageous. To talk about a community and to live in the world that does not want us to do that. Incredible.
A history of lesbianism. How they came into the world. The women-loving women came in 3 by 3 and 4 by 4. The women-loving women came in 10 by 10 and 10 by 10 again, until there were more than you could count. They took care of each other the best they knew how, and of each other's children, if they had any. How they lived in the world. The women-loving women learned as much as they were allowed, and walked and wore their clothes the way they liked, whenever they could. They did whatever they knew to be happy or free, and worked and worked and worked. The women-loving women in America were called dykes, and some liked it, and some did not. They made love to each other the best they knew how, and for the best reasons. How they went out of the world the women-loving women went out one by one, having withstood greater and lesser trials and much hatred from other people. They went out one by one, each having tried in her own way to overthrow the rule of men over women. They tried it one by one and hundred by hundred, until each came in her own way to the end of her life and died. The subject of lesbianism is very ordinary. It's the question of male domination that makes everybody angry.
Gets love struck. I want to be an old guy who gives a damn. Don't ever think that just because I use a walking cane that my mind no longer works or other parts are lame. Let's try that again so I can remember. Don't ever think that just because I use a walking cane that my mind no longer works or other parts are lame. I love women who like passion and seek women who like the same. No, I